Long, long ago, in the long-forgotten times of January 1st, 1996, something happened that would ultimately change the course of history as we know it. For it was on this day that Adobe Flash Player would make itself known to the world. Okay. I'll take it from here, thanks. So, chances are, if you were born between the year 1995 and 2009, and you were interested in video games, you were probably around for the golden age of Flash games. Allow me to explain. So, for anyone that isn't aware, Adobe Flash Player was a special software that allowed for interactive media to exist on websites. For a long time, websites were static and unchanging. This was due to the limitations of the HTML code that websites used. Flash Player allowed you to add far more complex, interactive things to websites. Suddenly, you get the birth of YouTube, and many people even used Flash Player to create full-fledged video games that you can play within a website. Suddenly, you get websites like CoolMathGames and Newgrounds, giant repositories of games that only sometimes gave you a virus. I remember playing so many Flash games. It was the cool thing to do back in early elementary school. Whenever we were in the computer lab in school, the entire class would start playing these games the moment the teacher looked away. These games were so widespread that the entirety of the regional school board ended up blocking Flash Player on all school devices and Wi-Fi networks temporarily. Now, unfortunately, after December 31st, 2020, Flash Player will be discontinued on web browsers. Decades of works and games, from good to horrendous, will be lost to time, inaccessible and unplayable. But some of them may be able to be preserved, and in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. In this video, I aim to sift through all the garbage, most of the garbage, and pick out the ones that are worth saving. So, without further ado, here we go. Oh, and this wouldn't be a spy video without some annoying ginger kid randomly complaining about God knows what. So, I'm going to throw in some trash ones, let's call it comedic effect. First off, we have Super Mario 63, released in 2009 by a user by the name of Runow on runow.com and on Newgrounds. This is by far one of the best, if not the best, Mario fan game I have ever come across that's been made in Flash Player. It is so good. Oh, and also, cue the title music. So good that when I was younger, I genuinely thought that Super Mario 63 was an official Mario game. Which also led me to believe that since there was a Mario 63 and a Mario 64, there must also be a Mario 62 and a Mario 61 and a Mario 60, and so on and so forth. To be fair, I was 4 years old at the time, so my stupidity was somewhat warranted. Anyways, this is a really fun game. It's essentially Super Mario 64, but reimagined as a 2D game. This isn't just some watered-down version of Mario 64, however. The level designs are completely revamped to work in the 2D environment. There are extra levels, a unique story, the full set of movement abilities from the 3D Mario games, and even a custom level creator. That's right, this game did Mario Maker a whole 6 years before Mario Maker, did Mario Maker. The game is also really long, at least for Mario game standards, sitting at around 10 hours to beat the main story mode. Then again, I might just be bad. I highly suggest checking this one out before it's too late. When I think of good Flash game, I think of Super Mario 63. That's how good this game is. Next up is Crash Bandicoot Flash Edition. This is another title that I remember playing incredibly often. I can't find any information regarding when this game first surfaced, but the earliest record of the webpage that hosts the game dates back to February 2008, which sounds reasonable. Crash Bandicoot Flash Edition, or as I call it, Crash Flash, is a 2D platformer that aims to recreate the style of the classic Crash Bandicoot games in a two-dimensional space. I'd say the game definitely succeeded. This feels nearly one-to-one with the original Crash games, just 2D and with graphics likely drawn in MS Paint. MS Paint, putting the pain in paint. Disregarding the graphics, this is actually a rather polished game. It retains the precision platforming of the original games and feels very accurate. For better or for worse. Unfortunately, the game hasn't exactly aged gracefully in the sound department. Everything, and I mean everything, is so incredibly loud that I can practically take off my headphones and use them as proper speakers, and that is exactly what I did when recording this footage. Editor's note, I'd like to point out that I set the volume to this footage at negative 25 decibels. If I did that to my microphone, you wouldn't be able to hear me in this video. The sounds are just the sound effects from the PS1 games, but incredibly loud and low quality. I think the person who made this honestly just put his microphone right next to his TV speakers and started playing the original games to get the sound effects. That would explain why they sound the way they do. It's honestly hard to get across just how loud this is, so I'm gonna put in a clip of regular gameplay at full volume. And I'd honestly suggest setting your device volume to be really low, because it is going to be very loud. In conclusion, I'd recommend Crash Bandicoot Flash Edition to anyone, so long as they are both blind and deaf, because I've moved all the way to Antarctica and I can still hear it. Ultimate Flash Sonic. Now this is an absolute classic in terms of Flash games. It's based off of the Sonic Advance games, and it's a really simple 2D Sonic game. But it's just really good. It really captures the essence of 2D Sonic games, I guess. That sounds really pretentious now that I say it out loud. Released February 21st, 2000 Wait a second. That can't be right. Holy crap! This game released February 21st, 2004. This game is older than I am. Wow. The game only had 2 levels, but it did have unlockable characters and cheat codes, so it was a really fun little romp. Ultimate Flash Sonic was a staple of many underground happenings in the school computer lab. Hey, so, you brought the equipment? Yeah, let's do this. Okay, but keep quiet or you get us busted. Okay, oh, right, yeah. Okay, here it is. You moron, you forgot to mute the computer speakers. Well, how was I supposed to know it would be that loud?
Attention, hooligans.
Oh god, no. Oh, please, no.
You are under arrest. Turn off the dangerous video games and come out with your hands up, or else we will call your parents and say unfavorable things about you.
Dude, we're right here. You don't need the megaphone.
My wife said that my mustache is droopy, and now I'm taking my anger out on you.
No. I can't go back to the timeouts corner. Not again! The game has all the staples of a good Sonic game. Fun movement, good music, infuriating level design. Yeah, that's the one thing I dislike about this game. For all of its greatness, some parts of the levels are just stupid. These freaking spikes haunt me to this day. Who puts a wall of spikes in the middle of a section that forces you to go fast? They come out of nowhere, and you're going way too fast to react most of the time, and to top it all off, if you actually do see the spikes coming and jump over them, there's a hidden spike that pushes you back into the spike area, or into that enemy, and you die. Minor tangents aside, this game is actually really fun, and there are only a few instances of the really sadistic level design. I take that back. There's another freaking spike trap in the very next level, and this time it forces you to run into it no matter what. Hey Alexa, what's the definition of fun? Oh wait, I've done that joke before. Super Mario Crossover is, by comparison, far less infuriating. You know Super Mario Bros., right? Yeah, everyone knows Super Mario Bros. Well, imagine being able to play Super Mario Bros. As other popular characters from the era. That's basically what Super Mario Crossover is. All of the characters are video game characters from other NES games that were popular at the time. Each character plays almost exactly like they did in their original games. The one notable exception is Link from The Legend of Zelda. He plays like he does in Smash Bros. And The Legend of Zelda 2. The characters all control exactly like in their games, and it's just really fun. Each character also has alternate costumes that represent similar characters or different iterations of that character. It's a really neat concept, and Crossover definitely executes on the idea flawlessly. There's just something really amusing about playing Super Mario Bros. As Bill from Contra. Next up, we have Escape Pong. That's a weird name. Alright, let's see what it... Oh. It's just Pong. Well, that's fine. Why would you name it Escape Pong? Wait, there's dialogue? Who puts dialogue in Pong? Yeah, okay, so apparently this is some weird visual novel based off of Pong. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't like this at all. This scares me. I do not like this at all. Moving on. Next we have Portal, the Flash version. This is another game that I used to play a lot. So imagine you take the game Portal and you make it two-dimensional. That's basically what this is, a bunch of levels for a two-dimensional recreation of Portal. It's simple, but still very fun. Obviously, regular Portal, and especially Portal 2, are leagues better. But this is still a really fun take on the Portal games. I mean, it's Portal, how could you mess that up? Here we have the Fancy Pants Adventures games. These are probably the best games that I'm going to cover here, especially World 4. Fancy Pants Adventures is a game series made by Brad Bourne, starring the world's coolest stick person, Fancy Pants Man. No, seriously, that's his official name, Fancy Pants Man. These games are fun 2D platformers with a huge emphasis on running fast and looking cool while doing it. With ramps, loops, slides, and everywhere, it encourages sprinting, sliding, rolling, wall jumping, and backflipping in rapid succession. These games are absolute gems, and I've become quite addicted to them while making this video. The movement is really fluid, and the whole game is hand-drawn. It's so cool. Luckily, the series got a full Steam release in the form of Super Fancy Pants Adventures, which is by far the best game in the whole series. It's so good, in fact, that the main game of Super Fancy Pants Adventures was ported back into a Flash version in the form of Fancy Pants Adventures World 4 Part 1 and 2. Additionally, the first two games, Fancy Pants Adventures World 1 and 2, were remastered and re-released on mobile phones, using the Super Fancy Pants engine. Usually, I despise playing 2D platformers on a touchscreen, but I actually found the controls of the mobile ports to be really good. Long story short, the series is probably the single best set of Flash games, or even close to some of the best 2D platformers that I've played in a very long time. I would definitely recommend these games, especially World 4, aka Super Fancy Pants Adventures, simply because of how fun it is to just run around. Are you tired of Super Mario Bros. And Tetris being two separate franchises?
Man, I am so tired of Super Mario and Tetris being two separate franchises. Why won't they merge?
Are you a fan of Tetris?
Disregarding my crippling Tetris addiction, I'd say it's pretty alright.
Is owning more than one video game a hassle for you?
No, not really.
Shut up, you don't know anything. I'm trying to do a bit here, so either you cooperate or we're gonna have a problem.
I mean, God, how do I live like this?
Well, do I have the product for you? Now you can play Mario and Tetris at the same time. For only $299.99, you can get yourself a copy of Tupertario Tros. Call this toll-free number within the next 20 days and you'll even receive an already used gift card for Arby's. Tupertario Tros. We really couldn't think of a better name. Here we have Run. Now, to say that this game was popular would be a grotesque understatement. This game was so popular, it's crazy. You play as this alien character. That's what he looks like from the front? Seriously? Oh, I don't think I like that. Well, you play as this alien character and you must run. That's it. Thank you for coming. Roll credits. The levels somewhat remind me of an old game called Tempest for some reason. I don't know why. The goal is to run across the solid ground and not fall to your doom. The levels get progressively harder to navigate, and you'll frequently have to jump onto walls because the floor just, forgot to show up to work. It's a neat concept and lends itself very well to the Endless Runner format, which happens to be a side mode. Unfortunately, that's all there really is to the game, and it gets a little stale after a while. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's primarily fun in bursts. There isn't a whole lot of depth to the game, but it would make a good arcade-style game. The game can also be quite difficult, but only for two reasons. The main character is quite slidey and has very little traction when changing direction. The game also feels a little off in terms of the 3D perspective. I don't know exactly what it is, but something feels really off with the portrayal of depth in this game. Judging distances is just really difficult, and the 3D effect just seems inconsistent. It doesn't help that the game starts off at 15 FPS by default. Still quite fun in short bursts, however. Here's one that not many people knew about. Or at least, not many people that I knew about it. This one's a full-blown website, not just a game. Welcome to GameGonzo.com. You gotta be kidding me. The website doesn't exist anymore? Really? Well, that's really depressing. This was a website that allowed you to create your very own Flash games. It was really cool. It had a set of pre-made game types that you could choose from. You had templates for Mario-style games, racing games, and maybe about 6 more that I can't remember. I really only ever used the Mario template and the racing template for games. Then you could pick out the images and the music for the game. You would assign an image for, say, the character you play as, another image for the power-ups, then the enemies, then the background picture. You get the idea. As a result of how easy it was to make a game, the games were very limited. There was only one level per game, and all the games shared the same level designs, just with different pictures. By today's standards, it's nothing special, but this blew my mind when I was younger. You're telling me that I can make my own video games? I spent so much time on this website, and it truly pains me that there's little to no record of this to this day. But maybe it's for the best, because I don't think anyone really wanted to remember Poop Minecraft.
Poop. 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 Poop.
Age of Delaware. I don't even know what that means. Time to find out, I guess. What? I don't even know where to begin. I am so confused. Alright, yeah, I'm moving on. Ooh. It's just tic-tac-toe is just tic-tac-toe. Happening? Oh, I won. Okay then. Canabalt, released in 2009, is quite a gem. You play as this business person who just quit his job in the coolest way possible and is now running for his life across the roofs of buildings. This is a high score-based game. The goal is to travel a great distance before dying. There are no levels and it goes on forever. At least this is the case with the original Flash version. You've probably seen many games like this before, but what if I told you that this was the game that directly inspired all of the other games like it? Canabalt was one of the first popular games in the endless runner genre, and it was the game responsible for popularizing these types of games in the first place. The game's art style is minimalistic and pixelated. It's really fitting for a game this simple. Honestly, this is a really fun time killer. Luckily, this game has been ported to various devices, so it'll survive the death of Flash. Nobody knows who this man is or why he's running. What did he do to get into this situation? What is chasing him? Nobody knows. Some say he's still running to this very day. Never mind, I don't think he's still running. Can someone call this guy an ambulance or something? Please? Pause Ahead is a puzzle platformer that at first seems very generic until you realize that you have the ability to continue moving after the game is paused.
It worked. Awesome. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna steal his drink.
Paused. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's brutally difficult, but very rewarding to beat. There's not a whole lot to this game, just a really unique mechanic and some really fun levels. There is technically a story, but it's really vague, so I didn't bother with it. This is a very fun game, despite how little there is. The game primarily focuses on the difficulty of the levels to round out the playtime, as opposed to having the game itself be full of content. Though I will say the game has one hell of a soundtrack. The later levels will usually take many attempts before a successful completion, and that's how the game reaches an acceptable length. It's really quite a shame in a sense, as the mechanic is so unique that I'd love to see it implemented in a full-length game. It has the difficulty of a classic Mega Man game, but with the clever mechanics of a good indie platformer. I definitely recommend this one to anyone looking for a difficult but rewarding experience. It's just really clever and would honestly make for a great full-length game if such a thing were ever to come out. Dino Run is another really good game. When I was younger, for some reason I thought that this game inspired the Google Chrome dinosaur game. I have no idea why, but I thought that. In this game, you play as this little dinosaur and are tasked with racing to the end of the level very quickly to avoid being engulfed by the wall of death and destruction. The game is great. It's fun to control, simple in execution, and is neither too easy nor too hard. The more points you get, the more quote-unquote credits you get. And you can use these credits to unlock bonus features like old demo versions of the prototypes of the game, and cool concept art and stuff like that. It's so cool. And that's not even touching on the wicked multiplayer that this thing has. It's so cool. It's like a racing game sort of thing. It's very enjoyable. Actually, the developer has been working on a sequel to the game for years now, and it looks really promising. So far, we've covered a lot of Nintendo things, so let's double down on that fact and talk about Super Smash Bros. Yes, Nintendo's extremely popular fighting game that takes gaming icons from across video game history and makes them fight for the amusement of children and 30-year-olds alike. Let's see how Smash Bros. Fared after the Flash Player treatment. Oh yeah, how could I possibly forget the premier Flash Bros. Experience? I'm talking, of course, about Super Smash X. I think the game just crashed on me. Okay, in all seriousness, Super Smash Flash 2 is definitely the best Flash Player Smash game out there. I was gonna talk about the first Smash Flash, but I'm honestly not much of a fan of that one. It's just really odd to control. Smash Flash 2, on the other hand, is like a full-fledged Smash Bros. Game. There's so much content crammed into this game. The character roster is simultaneously amazing and horrifying at the same time. The stage selection is full of remakes of old stages and great new stages. There are a ton of different modes. The game controls way better than I would have expected. Yeah, this is a full-blown Smash Bros. Game. This is awesome. The game has some great-looking pixel art too, and the soundtrack is also really solid. The character roster is pretty cool. And also completely terrifying because I don't know half the characters here, and they're not even video game characters, and they're cool, but some of them are just weird. Along with having series mainstays like Mario, Samus, Kirby, and Captain Falcon, you also have tons of new characters that fans have wanted in a Smash Bros. Game for years, i.e. Waluigi and Goku. Not sure how I feel about that. This game is a ton of fun and is definitely worth checking out. Luckily, this game will also survive the death of Flash Player because it has a downloadable version. So yeah, that's all we're going to cover today, because it's December 31st as I record this. We've run out of time. As of midnight tonight, 25 years worth of games. Lost. Gone for good. And sure, a lot of them were garbage, but a lot of them were really good. And I've hardly scratched the surface of... There were hundreds of thousands. I still had more to talk about, but I ran out of time. I was going to talk about, like, Bloons Tower Defense, and Pokemon Tower Defense, and the Riddle School games, and stuff like that, but I didn't get the chance. I was too late. Sure, there will be some archives, but those archives still will only barely scratch the surface. Hundreds of thousands of works, not just games, animations, short movies, artwork, gone. And certainly a lot of that stuff was complete garbage. A lot of it. When looking for the good games to cover in this video, I certainly had to sift through so many that were so bad it wasn't even worth putting them in for comedic effect. By far there were more horrendous ones than there were good ones. But they still had time and effort put into them. And there were still so many of them that it's still a piece of history. Just because the quality of some of these games were horrendous, does that mean that they're not worth preserving? One can only wonder what life will be like after Flash. It's not very often that the internet actually shrinks in size. So, with Flash Player now gone, the world has basically fallen into chaos. And all of society has gone to complete anarchy because no one can play their crappy Sonic games. So I've exiled myself to the Arctic. That's a lie. I just live in Canada, and it's December.